costs there may be under each alternative, and how each of the alternatives would fit within the natural and built environment. First concept is what we call the no-build concept. This is basically the status quo remains. The city develops as intended by their comprehensive plan. Traffic volumes continue to grow, find the capacity in the system. And I'll summarize each of these concepts at the end here. Second option was to build just a bridge over Highway 3 that would eliminate the access point on 169. So we would close the right turn, left turn, and right outs. Third concept that was evaluated included an overpass at existing Highway 3 with right turn and right turn access off the highway and right turn access back on the highway both directions, with the overpass on the existing Highway 3 alignment. A fourth concept, similar type access, only we're flipping, where we would build a local bridge perpendicular to 169 and maintain the existing right turn access at existing Highway 3. This would result in the closure of the median, taking away the left turn movement off of 169. And then finally, the interchange concept that was developed for the 2003 interregional corridor study that included a bridge overpass at existing Highway 3 and freeway type ramps to West Commerce Drive, freeway type ramps to County Road 3 south to 169. This is one of several maps that we prepared evaluating the traffic conditions under each one of those scenarios. We, based on the city's comp plan and expected growth out to 2030, we forecasted traffic volumes in 2015 and 2035. For each of the access concepts down here at Highway 3, we projected where AM peak hour and PM peak hour vehicles would use the system, and we evaluated critical intersections, locations for traffic control needs. I could talk 2-3 hours on the traffic analysis that was completed, but I'll spare you the details. General findings: any of the build alternatives, the system has adequate capacity to serve the growth of the city. What this says is what the claims have been earlier on. The Belle Plaine only needs one interchange. I'm sure all of you have heard that. This is, I think, where some of the speculation was coming. And our traffic analysis has shown that claim technically is true, that there's enough system capacity in County Road 3, Highway 25, 64, County Road 5 to allow the city to grow to their comp plan with minor capacity improvements at certain intersections, adding traffic signals or other traffic control means along County Road 3 and Highway 25. The no-build condition we know, or we have reason to believe will not function out to 2035. The southbound left turn volume to Highway 3, that movement would not be adequately served. That simply because during the peak hours, traffic on 169 grows to levels, there just aren't gaps available to make that crossing movement. A couple of the other design components that are noteworthy. We did have a structural engineer take a look at the two bridge locations. We did conclude that a bridge on the existing Highway 3 alignment is feasible, but it is more costly than a perpendicular alignment. Approximately about $500,000 higher cost. The committee also recognized, though, that a perpendicular crossing has more challenging grades and less desirable connectivity than a crossing on existing Highway 3. Between our build options, the cost range between $5 and $10 million. And I put a range up there because I didn't want anybody to zero in on $1 amount, because we're not quite to an agreement on what the costs are. And none of the build options had substantial environmental factors that could sway a decision one way or the other. So the initial conclusion, and as the mayor clarified earlier, what's been agreed to in general is a overpass concept with right turn access. It is preferred. The configuration of that access is yet to be finalized, and that's one of the things they'll talk about in the next steps. So what's in general agreement is that a bridge on the existing Highway 3 alignment is what the jurisdictions are agreeing to. And then the configuration of access could be something like you see here. It could be further to the south. That's yet to be determined. Those details are yet to be worked through. So over the next 3 or 4 months, what we expect to do with city staff, county staff, and MnDOT staff is finalize that access location and finalize the construction cost estimate. We will develop a draft layout for a formal MnDOT review. It's where it gets pushed through their different functional groups, and we'll get comments on that. At that point, we'll be able to gauge the feasibility of approval for that. We will identify the necessary environmental review process and agree to a funding strategy. Beyond our work in our current contract, a formal environmental review will be necessary. We will need, one of the next steps will be to complete that environmental review process and receive MnDOT staff approval. That's a formal approval of a layout by MnDOT. And then, of course, to move forward and secure funding at the city level, county level, state, and federal. Funding for projects like this, where there's multi-benefit to the community, to the land uses, to the transportation, the local transportation, the county transportation, state, are typically funded through a cooperative funding